Welcome viewer. What am I doing here? Well, as you can see, I have the red light mode on my headlamp. So I'm out here getting my initial thoughts. This is my initial thoughts video on the quite rather brilliantly, and I know I don't want to start using a load of superlatives, but quite brilliant so far for the price, the Wurkkos TS10. So here it is here, and if I turn this off momentarily, I'll turn the red light off. If you look at this, all you can see is the extremely bright, especially for this sort of small flashlight. Look at that on my hand. Look, that's the auxiliary. That's not even a mode. So that's not the main LEDs there. They are the auxiliaries. There's 3 auxiliaries. You may or may not see there. That's a little bit better. So at the top and it's like a tri setup there. You have 3 main emitters there behind a triple TIR setup. So extremely good, nice and floody, but it's very, very small. So let's turn this back on. If I can get the right setting. Bear in mind I'm doing this sort of one-handed. So here it is here. So look at this one. Now, this one is actually silver. You can't see that because I've got red light mode. It might help if I put a sensible mode on. Let's try. There you go. There's a sensible mode. So it's very silver. But look at the size of that. I've taken the clip off. It does come with a clip. Extremely nice. And it is a tail clicker. Now, you know I like a tail clicker. Although I did mention this on, I think it was the FWAA review. I said it's maybe a little bit too sort of short, so it's not so easy to use like that, and you had to do the Dio from Rio or whatever, or the Ozzy Osbourne grip or whatever they call it these days. It works fine. I took the clip off and I've been carrying this for, well, this is just my initial thoughts, so I mean it's only sort of a week. Not even a week, because I did take this away with me to the Highlands, and I really liked it. I like this button. It's nice and low profile, and because it's not extruding from the top there, it means you can tail stand, which is another nice feature. Looks great. It's using a 14500 cell. So what's a 14500 cell for those who don't know? Well, it's a AA basically in size, but not in chemistry. So not everything is created equally. So it might look like a AA inside there, but it is a lithium ion, so totally different amount of juice that's coming out of there. It's packing in a lot more energy, and therefore you can go up to higher voltage rather than the 1.2 to 1.5 you get on like a normal AA, depending on the chemistry. So enough waffling, we'll turn this out and I'll show you what this looks like. So that's the auxiliary. You can't change that, and I'll do that on the full review. You can change that to a much lower and off, and also in locked mode. So if I go to 1, 2, 3, hang on, turn it off again, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's my lock mode. Now that's on a higher mode. Now you can change that to a pulsing mode and a really, really, really low mode. Because bear in mind, you know, we're talking about physics here. You can't get something for nothing. So what that means is, if you're using the auxiliary, then that energy's got to come from somewhere. So there's going to be something of a parasitic drain there. So that's just something to bear in mind. So let's go to its lowest setting. In fact, before we do this, I just want to check something on the floor, because we're near some good floor here. So look. So you can see there, there's artifacts, but obviously that's because it's on the auxiliary mode. And you can see that the tri setup there, you see them? If I pull back a little there, you see them rotating now. But that, look how bright that is. That is the highest setting, obviously, and that does drain your battery. But I think that's brilliant. I really, really like it, and it's come in quite handy on a few occasions so far. Although obviously this is Anduril too, so it's got that momentary from lock, which is a feature I love, and then you can double press to get a little bit more without having to come all the way out of lock mode then back in. I really like that. So let's go to its lowest setting. So now bear in mind, I've come out of muggle mode here. I've gone straight into the highest. So there's your lowest. So there you go. Really, really low. The LEDs are something like CRP or CPR. I'll have to look it up. I didn't recognise them, but they're very nice. They are high CRI. So let's ramp this a bit. So that's ramped about halfway there. So I can't quite see that path in front of me. But down by the floor, perfect. I mean, I'll give you the full figures on the review, but I'm not going to belabor them on this. This isn't what this is for. These are initial thoughts, and it gives you a chance to see it live. Well, I say live, but in one take with no editing. You know, it's all done in camera, perfect. So pretty nice. Now we'll go to maximum ramp, so click and hold again. You can do stepped ramping if you want, because it's Anduril version 2. So that's pretty good. Look, you can see right over there. I can see that bridge there, and then the path. I can hear birds or something in these trees. They drive me crazy. There's probably wood pigeons around here, but look at that. You could definitely walk on that, no problem. Look, especially down by the floor, look, perfect. And colour reproduction is lovely. For those who have it available, I am recording this in HDR, so that's 10-bit colour. So you should be able to see the difference if you compare this to a lower CRI. So this is 90 plus, 95 CRI level. Well, I will test that. A lot of main LEDs you see these days are at the 70% range. So you're only getting about 70% of the colours that you would see in natural daylight. But that's great. And then if we go to turbo, which is a double click on this Anduril, boom, there's turbo. Look at that, beautiful. My goodness. For a tiny little light that's using a tiny little cell. Now bear in mind, this is going to start heating up rapidly. So you're going to get, 20 plus degrees in Celsius on top of whatever the ambient is, and it's just going to kick off and it's going to step down. So let's see how long we get here. So is that stepping down now? I think that's possibly ramping down a bit, just to check. Let's do it again. Yeah, so that was a ramp. So I'm only getting like 30 seconds ish, but it has been in my pocket. It was quite warm, and we've been running it, so just bear that in mind. But if you whip it out and turn it on turbo, you're going to get a different run time. So turn that off and turn it back onto a sensible level, so ramp it down a little bit there. So colour reproduction, really, really nice. We'll come down here without trying to fall over. And then what I thought I'd do is, there's some other lights I'm testing it with, so I'll show you what they look like. So let's just look at this scene here. So go to turbo. So that's what it looks like with this light. So okay, so try and capture that in your mind's eye. There's that mound of mobsters that have been buried or something. I don't know what that is. And there's the colour on the floor there. So turn that out. Now what I'll do is I shall compare it. So I'm going to compare it with some other lights. So I'm comparing it with yes, it's not the same cell, but it's a very similar size. It's the Brynite HL16, also known as the Noctua. This happens to use this, I think it's a 16340 cell, but again, the light itself is very similar size. Uses a different setup. It is one TIR, and it's quite a punchy one. So you see, can you see how the spill at the side, it's not as uniform as what you've just seen, but the output is different. The turbo that you just saw there on the TS10 was 1400 lumens. So extremely high. That's why you get that step down. But that is really good from a small cell. The one that they sell it with, you can use your own, but the one they give you is a button top, and I think it's about 900 milliamp hours. But other cells are available. I've got a 1000 one that does like 10 amps, which I use on my FWAA. But can you see how this is much more punchy? This would probably, if it was higher output, it would probably send further, but it isn't. So you're getting about 520 lumens on this off the top of my head. But it does have a magnetic base, and it is a different price, more expensive, much more expensive. And you can 90 degree it, which I'll show you there. So there it is there, and you can 90 degree it like that, which I think is cool. I've used that on fixing PCs and things like that. You can like stick it on things. I'm also going to compare it with FWAA, which I just mentioned there. Also a tri-emitter, beautiful tint on this. The only problem I had with this is, and you can go and check my review, was the button. I love the tint, I love it, I love it, I love it. But the button, when it's been on turbo for more than 10 seconds, it just, some is it works, some is it doesn't. I'll show you. So there it is there. Same, you can ramp it up and down. That's the full ramp, and then that's the lowest ramp. In fact, we'll let that focus so you can actually see what it looks like, FWAA. I love that tint. Really, really, really like it. I think that looks great. And then if we go to turbo on this, so push down this path here. There, well, I can try to get it to turbo. Let's just make sure we're in the right mode here. See what I mean about the button? It's sometimes it works, right? Turbo, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful beam on this. Just that button, and it really annoys me. It makes me want to take it to bits and stick WD-40 in it or something, or ballastol. I don't know what, but it just annoys me. There's probably a mod, and then that's starting to ramp itself down because of heat. In fact, I can feel that. In fact, let's try that again just to make sure. So I'll make sure the button's right on. Right, that's turbo. In fact, I don't know if I had turbo on. I can't have. That was much brighter. Look at that. It's picking out my breath and everything. So I think that's pretty good. Look. Really nice. But again, different price on this. More expensive, but it's coming from Lumentop, which are a brand I trust. Although, like I say, I can't tell a lie. I don't like the button. I'm also testing it against, and I'll just show you, the Tool AA V2. That just happens to be a diffuser I have over the button. I'm not going to go into that now. This isn't the purpose of this review. Smooth reflector, one LED, about 600 lumens. So let's turn this red light off so I'm not cheating. There, and it's a tail clicker, listen. See, so click on, off. You can go through the modes. There's a half press to go through them as well. You see the half press, low, medium, high. There, that's the highest. So because it's a smooth reflector, even though it's only 600, you're getting quite a lot of throw on that. So very handy if you're using it for certain applications. I think the clip's poor on this, but you can't have everything, can you? Other than that, I do really like this. I've got multiple of this, which I bought with my own money. So, you know, I'm not trying to promote a company here that I don't trust. I really like them. Well worth the money. I've seen these on offer for a similar price, but without the cell, to the TS10 that we're looking at here. But I still think the TS10, it depends. If you want a simple tail clicker, this is better, and you have the diffuser. If you want full Anduril 2 and all those cheeky little extras that you get with that, and more floody, triple emitter, higher CRI, you'd probably be better off with the TS10. Boom. Anyway, that's enough of that. I'm also going to test it against a good old Nikkor Tip SE. This is the Tip SE here. I'll just show you. There you go, Tip SE. Again, yeah, I realise this isn't using a 14500 or AA or anything like that, but it's similar size, isn't it? So let's turn this off and I'll put it straight onto turbo. So there it is on turbo. So very, very diffuse, very diffuse. You get about 700 lumens, even though it doesn't sometimes look like it. It's so diffuse, but still nice. You know, I really like that. They're a good choice to buy for family members, although they have that daft demo and daily mode, which is try explaining that to an 8-year-old relative, you know, but never mind. So there you go, and there it is, left and right. So nice double emitter. I'll just show you that there. It's a dual emitter, that one. And lastly, I just did a review just recently, actually, is the Skillhunt, I think it's the E2A. There it is, Skillhunt E2A. I really like this, a lot to like, especially for the price, but I think they needed to rethink this TIR. This micro lens doesn't quite work. I think they just need to make a few little changes to it, and I'll show you that. Let's turn the light off. There it is. Nice warm tint on this, lovely. And pushes out quite a bit for a TIR, look at that. Bear in mind, that's a TIR, look at the beam. If I go sideways and breathe, see that? That's quite punchy in the middle. Maybe I should take back what I said about the beam. Although up close there are artifacts, you know, but look at that. But then a lot of people would say, well, I need it wider than that. But for a utility light up close, maybe you don't. Again, it depends what you're using the light for. It's like running trainers or sneakers, if you want to call them that. There is no right answer. It depends on your foot and it depends what you're doing. Same with flashlights. Luckily we've got all these options. Okay, so let's turn that off, stop waffling, and I'll show you the TS10 again. So let's go back to the TS10, and there it is with its beautiful auxiliary, and we'll turn it on there. Let's walk a little bit, just so you can see what it's like in action. So let's walk along here a little bit. So on its lowest, like I say, if we come right down here, turn that off. Now bear in mind, I took this out of muggle mode, so you've got full range of the ramp in there. That's the lowest there, you can see. You can hardly see that on the ground there. And then we'll go to that's about half ramp. Pretty good. So really, I've waffled quite enough. I'll let you go, but I'll give you some specs here. So for about 20 bucks, which is incredible, with a cell, you can get this. Pretty good. It comes in different colours. You can get black, red, green, or this silver one. The auxiliary lights, you have an option on that as well, which is really good. You've got the this one, which is ice white. No, I think they call this ice blue, sorry. And then we'll just ramp this up to full. And then you have a amber and a red. I did see a green, but I couldn't find that for sale, which is a nuisance. But never mind. If I can't see it for sale, I can't really tell you about it. So that option may or may not exist anymore. I don't know. Look at these bluebells coming up. So that's quite interesting. And you get a choice of tints. So very rarely, you know, for such a good price, are you still getting all these features. You can pick between a 4000, which is what this is, 4000 Kelvin in tint. And there is also a 6000, I think, off the top of my head, which is more the cool white sort of level. Pretty good though. It's IPX8, brilliant, in other words, proper waterproof. Yeah, you can't, there's no USB charging on it, so you're going to need to take the cell out, and it is a normal-ish cell. It's a button top. Does it fall back to AA? Well, you'll find out in the review. And does it work with non-button tops? In other words, a flat top 14500. Well, again, you'll find out that in the review, because I really need to test that. So very interested with this so far, enjoying using it. It's been a pleasure to carry. Like I say, I did take this up to the Highlands of Scotland, and I had it on me most days, and the paint, well, anodization has been fantastic so far. So let's get this on turbo. Boom, there you go. Look at that. I think that's brilliant. Let's just check out this if I breathe. Very wide, did you see that? Bit of width to that. Nice though. Okay, so let's just walk along a bit and I'll give you a few more little things about this. Yes, you can get a clip on it. Again, I'll show you that in the full review. Is there anything else I've forgotten? Probably, but I do like to waffle, don't I? So I've probably forgotten. You can see that stepping down there, so if you want to go back and time that, I'm sure I was getting like 30 seconds. It depends if you've used it before, but about 30 seconds. So if I turn that off and go to a sensible ramp there. So 1400 lumens, which is brilliant for such a small light, and high CRI. I'm always a big fan of high CRI. That's my cup of tea. I really like that. That gives you full colour reproduction index. And I'm going to do some more testing on this. So if you've got any comments, stick them in the comments below, and questions, stick them down there, and I always answer them. YouTube have now given me this daft thing where I can reply with a short or whatever they're called, so I might utilise that, but I'll probably put up a little poll just to see if people want that, because some people hate shorts. I know I keep closing them whenever I see them because I'm not interested in TikTok and, you know, people dancing around for 8 seconds and then falling over. You know, if I wanted to watch that, I'd, you know, put on a cheap TV channel. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Comments in the below section if you have any questions for me, and full review up when I get time. So good night. Let's turn this out. Boosh.